welcome back to another episode of Luncheon with Lisa. We're excited about tonight, but I first want to start by, of course, welcoming you back and thanking you for supporting me every week and every season, because we're actually in our third season, which is a big deal to us. But I wanted to actually start off by saying, first of all, happy birthday to, I think it's still, is it Virgo season? I'm not sure. I always forget after Taurus season. I just kind of, I don't care as much. No, I'm just kidding. But happy birthday to everybody who's celebrating a birthday. So shout out to you. Also wanted to say happy anniversary to those who are celebrating love. I'm a fan of love, so happy anniversary to all the lovebirds. And then I wanted to say congratulations to all of the students who have headed back to school, who have graduated. I know this is a big time for everybody going to their dorms. I remember that so well with my son. I'm watching videos of when he went to his first year. He's graduated now, but I know how that feels. But I will say I didn't hold on too tight, because that actually gave us our empty nest. And that was a good thing. So congratulations to empty nesters as well. And I just wanted to really remind you all that I shared this the first show, but with Luncheon with Lisa, we took a break the second part of June and all of July. And so you all have noticed that we're doing a little something different. We changed things around, but it was a great idea to kind of check out and unplug. So this is a selfless plug for the Facebook page that Shariva and I started, called Unplug and Chill. And I know we haven't been pushing that page that much, but that's exactly what we did. We unplugged and we chilled, and we decided that we still want to chill. So we having a show and we have other things going on, but we like the chill part of this. So please go to that page. We will be sure, Shariva, please remind, we should be sharing that page. But we created that page because we wanted everybody to go there and share different things that they do to kind of just chill for the day. We just drop in and say, hey, what are you all doing for the weekend? Because I think Stephanie and I talked about this a little earlier before the show, is that self-care and giving yourself that time really does make a difference. And I'm on cloud 9 just because of that one little month and a half. So on some different stuff right now. But without further ado, and I tell you what we'll do is we'll go to a commercial break to show you a little bit of DSM Media's work as we do commercials and background production and social media postings. But we want to show you some of our work, but we also want to blast about an event that's coming up later this month. So let's go to a commercial and then we'll come right back.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
In your area.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
So you all check it out. Sharon will probably be jumping in here, but she's having her Rosa's event. If you all know, that I've always been a part of that. And this year is a comedy show attached to it. So please check it out. And we'll show it again later on the show just to remind you. But I want to introduce you to our guest today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. And then we're just going to go into some conversation. We were already talking before the show, and we decided we better let you all join in on the conversation. But let me tell you a little bit about, I'm first going to say realtor, speaker, media, host, and coach. A realtor, Stephanie DeBerry. And I'm hoping I'm saying her name, pronouncing everything okay. Of Stephanie Sells, the DMV, is a platinum producer that is based in Washington, D.C. metro area, licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And her mission is to educate and empower her clients while helping them to achieve their real estate goals. Stephanie does not sell homes. She provides hope to her clients that are wanting to achieve the American dream. A graduate of Howard University. We talked about that before the show because I'll do shout out to my sister. She is also a graduate. Stephanie is also the founder of Redevelop Her, a podcast and program that leverages real estate to help divorced women rebuild their lives. So you can tune in weekly to 1450 AM, 95.9 FM, or www, and that's WOLDCnews.com to hear Stephanie and her industry colleagues on Real Estate Report, a radio show that shares real estate and finance news and information that impacts the African American community. Stephanie doesn't know this, but last season we asked some of our guests what kind of things they wanted to hear on the show, and real estate was one of them. So you kind of fit that bill for us, which I'm excited about because this is one of the things they wanted to see and they wanted to talk about. So further, Stephanie has a commitment to the community and a passion to serve. She has sat on the Loudoun County, Virginia Section 8 board and has been elected to serve as president of WREBA, Washington Real Estate Brokers Association, the local board of NAREB, which is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and as the former president of Women's Council of DMV. Consistent with her goals of success and empowerment, Stephanie serves as a certified mentor and coach to her agent colleagues. She is an accountability partner for agents and real estate teams. Stephanie was the host of the Black Real Estate Weekend in December of 2020, sponsored by Dr. Boyce Watkins and the Black Business School. From there, she launched the Black Millionaire Real Estate Agent Masterclass in January of 2021, where she's training agents from all over the country. Her passion is helping agents build confidence and grow their businesses to achieve six-figure success. Stephanie has been featured in Black Enterprise, Huffington Post, Sheen Magazine, and Women of Excellence Magazine, and on WOLB and Flipology Radio, and Luncheon with Lisa. I just had to throw that in there. She has been seen on Fox, Black Press USA, Women's Business Report, WJLA News Channel 7, Good Day DC, and Good Morning Washington. She has been invited as a host, panelist, and speaker for numerous podcasts and industry events. And in her free time, Stephanie enjoys traveling and spending time with her children. She has a Cameron, just like I do, a Chanel, and a Chase. So welcome, Stephanie, to Luncheon with Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa, for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this because we have some new friends that are joining us. Stephanie's never been on the show, but I'm hoping that even after this, she'll return. And like I said, this was one of the topics that our guest really was interested in. And I want to do a shout out. Thank you, Lynette, for tuning in. She's tuning in all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. Awesome. She does all the time. Thank you for your continued support. You would think she lives here because I feel like she's my next door neighbor most of the time because she's always been supportive. So I thank you for always being there, Lynette. But Stephanie, tell us a little bit about the real estate journey, but that's not all we're going to talk about because you have a space in the media world and hosting and all that kind of stuff. But let's start with real estate.
Real estate. Well, I started in real estate about 15 years ago or so. And at the time, my former husband was an agent and I was in the automotive industry. I was selling cars. I was doing really well. I wasn't thinking about going to school to study for an exam, to pass a test, to help folks buy real estate. But one day when I was on my lunch break in Tyson's Corner, went to my husband's office and his broker overheard me, older gentleman. And he said, well, if you're doing that well selling cars, you might want to think about real estate. And I was like, he might know what he's talking about, right? And he was probably the fourth person who told me over my lifetime at that time to consider real estate. And I just didn't have an interest. So anyway, took the class, loved it. I love learning, I think. So I took the class, passed it, and originally I was just licensed in Virginia. At the time we were living in Loudoun County. And then I ended up getting licenses in Maryland and then DC. Okay. I was with Long & Foster initially, great company. Currently I'm with EXP. I've been with Keller Williams, different companies. You probably know realtors.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
It happens as your business grows or your mindset shifts. Different goals. I always tell newer agents it's very common that you will switch brokerages. But I love real estate. I didn't think that I would initially. just because I didn't want to be challenged at that time.
Okay.
But what I love the most about real estate is the people, honestly. So for me, it's people over property all day long. I enjoy working with the individuals and families that I've been actually blessed to work with over 15 years.
Wow.
As realtors, we make it look really good. We make it look really easy with all the new shows, and we even have a new show of color on Netflix. I mean, we're selling real estate in stilettos and bodycon dresses. We make it look great, but we are really impacting people's lives. Right? It's really pretty serious when you think about it. And so I've had so many individuals and families come to me over the years that I am able to help them secure a foundation for their financial future and legacy. Because real estate and owning a home is not just the roof where you raise your family and create amazing memories, right? We have to look at it too as an investment.
Absolutely.
And we have to teach our people how to leverage that investment to create other opportunities. Right. And so that's the part I'm even more focused on now. But the journey has been great. I've just grown. I started out part-time, full-time, part-time, dual career. I've been full-time now for about 6 years. So prior to COVID, I was already working from home, and I love it. Because when you think about it, a productive agent is out making deals happen.
Right.
I don't need to be in an office, and then you got to pay office fees that sometimes people don't realize until they get into this space, what that really looks like. And so I've been working from home. But one of the reasons why I enjoy real estate too is freedom and flexibility.
Right. I was going to say that it's freedom.
Yes, time freedom. Your time is everything. Our time, right, is everything. And so with me having 3 children, my 3 C's, as I call them, I've always wanted to be very hands-on active. We understand we have to work, we have to take care of our homes and our families. But I asked God if there was something that I could do where I could manage my business around them as opposed to the other way around.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
It is. And I have been able to do that successfully for many years. I try to encourage other people to get in this space as a mentor and a coach, and not just get in this space. Because I'll tell you, there's millions of agents. I think maybe 2 million or so. I don't remember the exact statistics right now. But there's not even maybe 100,000 of us, people of color, that are agents, right? Most people that get licensed, because all you have to do is pass your state and national exams, 80% don't stick around after 2 years.
Really?
So, yeah. So you probably know some folks that were agents, have been agents, about to be an agent, right? It's just a vicious cycle. And I think that's for several reasons. I think, again, people don't realize this is a business. It's not a side hustle, right? I always tell my new agents, if a client heard you mentioning side hustle with their $300,000 investment,
right,
that's not how it works.
Yeah, right? No, you can't side hustle my dream. Right. You can't do that.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people come in with that mentality. And to me, you just have to be invested. You truly do, because your clients are making an investment in you, hoping that you're going to help them get to that settlement table, whether I'm representing a buyer or a seller, right? My goal is to get them to the settlement, as I always say, as stress less. That's my made up word. And as seamlessly as possible. So I enjoy it for so many reasons, but that's just a few of them.
I love it. And here's the thing, when somebody's in it for the wrong reasons, I guess sometimes people don't realize that they're going to figure that out fairly quickly. Because usually when you're going to do something like that, your energy is you're all in. This is a big deal. And if you're not getting that same, energy from the person you're working with, you're like, okay, so why are you really doing this? So I like that this is it's something you found out that you loved, which is perfect, because that means that you're going to do everything you can to make sure that they make the best investment possible for their money. Because it's a big deal. Real estate is a big deal. And a lot of people never get to do that.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, because specifically as it relates to people of color, we are only at 43.4%. So think about, not even half of African Americans, Black Americans own homes. So I always say in the DMV, we kind of in a bubble, right? Because everybody got the good jobs, educated, all that good stuff. However, we don't know. Some folks are renting out these beautiful homes, right? They're not always homeowners. So there's so much work that needs to be done. I'm actually the president of the Washington Real Estate Brokers Association, and that is a local board office for a national organization called NAREB, which is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And so we have been in operation for 75 years. And our mission is democracy in housing, right? We need more of us owning homes, and not just owning, but thriving in home ownership, right? Because we know when the market crashed the first time, a lot of us lost our homes, right?
That's right.
And so we were in situations that some of us probably should not have been in, right? But at the end of the day, there's so much work to do to make sure people are educated and empowered as it relates to owning a home. And even now, like you said, I'm working with first timers. Their parents didn't own, right? Maybe their grandparents didn't own. And so this is the first time. So when I say it really, sometimes we're tearful handing over keys because we realize what it has taken for people to take that leap of faith when no one around them has done this. So sometimes you're an owner and you think everybody's doing it.
And and I wanted to touch on that because when you shared those numbers, I didn't realize that. And I think a lot of people don't, because they do make that assumption that you see a house, some people assume ownership, but then there's another group of people who assume nobody owns anymore. It's no big deal, because I think that they think that that's the only level they can get to, because I guess you never really know the feeling until you actually come from renting, because we've done both. We've rented,
right?
You have the apartments, but then you actually own a home. To know that this is yours, that you own this, is a very different feeling than it's kind of like I was never a fan of leasing cars, because it's just a crazy Lisa thing, but I kept feeling like it's not really mine, like I have to give it back. And I don't even like layaway, because I kept feeling like, no, when I give you some money, I want to take something home with me. I don't want to leave it with you. And people have really gotten discouraged, maybe because it just seems like something that you just can't obtain anymore.
And the thing is, what I try to tell people, I don't try to sell anybody on anything, right? I want to work with people who, even if they haven't had the experience or know someone or in their family haven't seen it, I want to help them achieve their goal. But if it's not part of your goal, I'm not fighting with you to own, right? It doesn't make any sense. I'm a salesperson, but what I'm not going to do is try to sell somebody who's not interested. It doesn't work, right?
That's right.
And so at the end of the day, what I try to tell people, it's easier than what they think, right? But a lot of it's overcoming fear. So as realtors, we're not just sales consultants and professionals. I always say I'm like a pastor, a mediator, a therapist. I pray with folks, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot that we do because we're working with people and different personality types. But I tell people it's about a good 10 steps. And if they're really seriously interested and ready to make the investment of their time, their energy, and their finances, then a realtor such as myself or any other reputable realtor and a lending professional and the rest of our team that's behind the scenes, we can hold your hand and walk you through that process, right? It really is not difficult. There are challenges that may come up, but when you're working with experts and a great team, that's what we do. We find solutions to the challenges that may present themselves. But I'll tell you, more times than not, we have seamless transactions. So,
and if anything else, you walk away from the experience knowing things that you didn't know before. And once you know. So you ever, ran into someone, and as you're helping them and they're learning things, and even if it's a struggle or they had to come up with this or whatever, after it's done, they're telling the next person, I had to do this and I had to do that. And so it's a great feeling. But I think people maybe get intimidated by the process. And I like the fact that you all hold their hand, because I remember back when I was younger, and this was before marriage, and I was just a single mom, and I was actually attempting to buy a home, and started going through the process and paying off things on your credit and all that kind of stuff. And I decided not to wait a little longer, but I still felt empowered by even starting the process.
Yep.
And I think that gave me that edge to say, okay, this is definitely what I want. I just need to decide when I'm ready to do it.
Exactly.
And I think Shariba actually just posted something. She said, I think I just have a fear of the process.
She's not alone.
Yep,
yeah, she's not alone. And the process, I always tell people, is just like any other thing you've done, right? If you applied to school or you did the FAFSA form for your, for your son, and I've done it for my daughter, it's a process. Just follow the steps. And I talk to my adults sometimes that have children, and I say, look, what do you tell your children when they come in and saying, Mommy, Daddy, I'm afraid? You tell them what? Right? Fear is not of God. If you're a Christian, right? We give them all this whole breakdown. God didn't give you a spirit of fear. So we have to start living what we're teaching our younger folks to do, right? And it's okay to be afraid, right? That's a natural emotion, human emotion. But at the same time, I feel God has given us people. He's given us resources. Everything we need, we're already connected to. We just have to make a call, usually. That's it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to actually flow into, because now I can see why coaching and media and all of that is part of this with you too. So tell us a little bit, let's dip into the media part of this and coaching, because I can even see in the way you work with your clients that all of that comes into play, which is what you mentioned.
It does. And the funny thing is the coaching, I've always loved imparting information. I love learning. And like you said, when you learn something, you feel empowered. You want to tell everybody, right? You got to share. And so I said, I never was a formal teacher, right? However, I'm constantly teaching, whether it's my clients or new agents or new business owners. I've had other businesses in the past. I just love it. I just feel like we're always called to do. We have a responsibility to share information. And so for me, as I mentioned earlier, agents come in and they fall out. They're not successful. And so I said, I wanted to see more agents, all agents, but in particular, agents of color really do well in this space because there's plenty of opportunity here. And so I took it upon myself and I'm like, hey, I have the ability, I have the numbers, I know what I'm doing, I love people. So I'm just gonna start mentoring, teaching, coaching. And Dr. Boyce Watkins, I don't know if you're familiar with him, founder of the Black Business School, he gave me an opportunity that he had never done before with the Black Real Estate Weekend, and that just kind of kicked off. It was a week before Christmas. I think it was COVID, and I'm wondering if anybody is going to come on the weekend, like on a Saturday. We had a 2-day event. I think they said we had over 8,000 people online. It was huge. Wow. It was, I think, bigger than what they even thought. And so from there, I started coaching even more agents. He gave me another opportunity to do my masterclass on this platform. And I started meeting agents across the country. So not just here in the DMV, but across the country. In particular, in Chicago, I coached brokerage. So I had several agents in a brokerage that I was coaching. So I just think education is fundamental to what we're doing. And as agents, if we really want to be good, we constantly need to be educated so that we can do better by our clients, right? It's just like a cycle. The media came because I went to a high school that focused on communications, magnet school. And so it's so funny when I think about it. I probably should have studied that at Howard. And I took a couple communication classes, but I ended up being a chemistry major because I wanted to develop hair products. And so
that works too.
Doesn't that work? Haven't we seen that all over my Facebook? Oh my gosh, I get so upset with myself. Like, Stephanie, you were on this path. But guess what? I didn't like chemistry. Oh my gosh, I struggled through chemistry. And so I say now I could always hire a chemist, right? Because what I'm learning is some of these people don't even develop their own stuff, right? It's a lab that's doing it and they just put their labels on it, right? So I've learned that. But at the end of the day, I think the media was always inside, right? It was always there. And I just got opportunities. I was on WOLB when I was a flight attendant. So I used to be a flight attendant. And I had a show called Take Off with Stephanie. And I was just trying to encourage more of us to get out and see the world and to travel.
I love it.
And it was just fun. Every Tuesday I went in, they taught me how to work the boards. I felt like I was doing something. It was great. And then I was on WBGR out of Lanham in PG County. And
Okay.
that gave me an opportunity to be in front of the camera, as well as people could, hear the audio. So that was a different experience. And now on Urban One or Radio One, WOL talk radio. So all these different formats I'm getting on for the real estate report. But I enjoy it. Again, I just love sharing information with people. That's all I'm doing.
I love it. I do. What I love about it is that you took real estate and then you took it. Actually, it sounds like that you used all of your gifts for something that you absolutely love to do, which is when you just hit magic, because all of the media and the communication and all of that stuff, and it kicked into doing this real estate that is something you absolutely love to do, which makes it the journey that much more special. And your clients actually don't realize the gift that they're getting, because you're not
Thank
just
you.
getting someone who's trying to sell you a house or sell you whatever. You're getting the whole package here. And I like that you've taken this to another step where you actually want others to do that as well, because sometimes
Yeah.
we stop short of sharing that with other people.
Right.
Which is something that I always believe, that it's not for us, it's for us to give, to others. So I like that that's what you're doing. Yeah, that just makes it that much more wonderful.
And I thank you for that, because again, that goes back to fear-based mindset, right? When people have that crabs in the barrel syndrome, well, I got this, they need to get theirs, I'm not going to help
Yes,
them.
yes.
That's fear-based, right? Because even in this competitive world of real estate, I just have an abundant mindset. What God has for me, no one is going to take. It's bigger than what I could even imagine, right? So I have no problem basically teaching my competition. That's really what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I have great agent partners, great colleagues that really appreciate what I'm trying to do for them. And so I just look at it like you said, I finally came into a space where I'm using everything that God has for me. And it took a while because we get put in a box. She's a realtor. And recently a friend told me, no, you're more than a real, you're not just a realtor. Because he was like, a realtor just sells you a house, da 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 da. So you just confirmed what was just said to me recently, because I'm trying to wrap my head around, I do all these things, but they still all work together though. I'm still serving people with every aspect of my being. So
Absolutely.
I'm thankful for that.
That's the uniqueness in you. And that's what somebody gets blessed with when they work with you, which is why they should be paying attention to it. So you all should be sharing, because if that's something you're thinking about doing, I mean, and if you think about it, when you were explaining like all the things that go into who you are as an agent, I thought about that people need to probably even do research on who they decide to work with and going through this journey, and not just picking the first person, that says, this is what I do, but instead, check them out, see who you want to go. Because if you think about it, you got to go through this journey with that person. If you're not feeling them, or you don't know, or you're not having that trust and all that, why would you want to go through that journey with somebody that like, oh gosh, I got to talk to them again? You want somebody who you're feeling is who gets it, and is looking out for your best interest. So yeah,
That's important. That
y'all
is
should
so
be calling
important.
Stephanie after this. Y'all need to be calling her. Yes, indeed. So this is what I wanted to ask you. Because you're working on so many projects and you're on so many platforms. So tell us a little bit about any projects and things that you may have going on or coming up that you want to share.
Definitely. So my biggest project right now, which I believe is the culmination of everything we're talking about, everything that God has blessed me with, every trial, every tribulation, is my Redevelop Her project. Because my Redevelop Her project is basically where my personal and professional life intersect, right? So I'm taking my years of real estate experience and expertise along with my personal life of having been married for almost 20 years, going through a divorce, helping other women in this space, not encouraging divorce, but helping other women that have made the decision or already recently divorced, build their lives over, right? We are transforming women's lives, and we're using real estate as a tool to do that. right? So it's a holistic program. It's not just about real estate, mind, body, spirit, finances, health, and wealth. We got to get all of us together before we can even think about venturing into a next relationship. So what I'm trying to do is help women really create or build a better relationship with themselves. You're married. You know how this goes when we're married and we have children. We spend so much of our time and energy, as we should, with our children and invested into our spouse. And so many women sometimes put themselves on the back burner, whether it's your goals, your dreams, aspirations. And then when you get divorced, you're faced with, wait a minute, who am I? Because I've been the mama, I've been the wife, I've been all of that for years, because I don't think anyone gets married and just wants to get divorced. And so it's a finding of yourself again. So I say we're transforming divorced women one room at a time. So I'm equating it to building a house, setting a foundation, and then each room is a different aspect of our being, right? So we're going to come out tight and right, ready to go. It's not, like I said, it's not about other relationships. So I don't want women thinking I'm a relationship expert. I'm not there yet. But it's about getting ourselves together so that we can be our best selves. Right?
I love that.
Moving forward. So that's my project. That's my baby. The master class is starting in October, and it'll be 6 weeks of just planning, right? Because when the rug has been pulled from under you, or your life suddenly changes in ways you didn't realize, you have got to come up with a new plan for your life. We were married. I thought we were going to be together forever. You have one plan, and now you're going to have to come up with something new. Right. And so we take our time, 6 weeks invested into just planning what your next steps are going to look like. And then I have a master series that goes into 3 months of executing every step of that plan. So again, we're hand holding women through this plan, because if we help women, guess what? We help girlfriends, we help the children, we help extended family, because guess what they'll do? They'll share this information.
Absolutely. And this is needed. I mean, a lot of times I'm hearing, even from friends or other conversations, that's that moment when when life has changed and it's shifted. And I have this post that I share on social media sometimes that says, when life does a change or something, you just yell out plot twist. And then you keep going. That's the writer in me saying it. But I mean, it is where you have to, regroup. And as you put, redevelop. As you were explaining that, I was like, oh, I get the name because you've connected it with real estate and building. That's awesome. This is the English major in me speaking, because I love people that do plays with words and make you think. So yeah, I was just my whole light bulbs is going off like, oh my gosh, I love that. But I think that this is an area that is much needed because a lot of times you feel left out there, just left to dry, and everybody's like, oh, okay, that changed, or whatever you were to them in your life as it was, it changes, and then people just kind of fall back and give you time to figure it out, and they never come back or help. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I love it. I'm
excited about it. I really feel like I've always been passionate about real estate, always been passionate about teaching and speaking. But now I'm like, okay, God, you put all this together. So all those trials and frustrations weren't in vain, right? And it serves such a bigger purpose because, like you said, divorced women are sometimes often forgot about. Mm-hmm. And I always bring up the church because I grew up in a church. We had the singles ministry in a lot of churches, right? Preparing people to get married, marriage ministry when you married. But some progressive churches have, gotten to the divorce ministry. But at the end of the day, there is so much help and support that these women need. I mean, it's just devastating. It's very traumatic. Especially when you have children, especially if you had a marital home and lost it, that extra income potentially. I mean, there's so many different dynamics that go into it. And I'm not the only person affiliated. I have a team of professionals and experts. I share my story, but I bring in the folks to help. And I always say one thing, whether you're divorced or not, Black women, we can use more therapy. We have faith and we have therapy, God and therapy. We could do both. And that's a huge part of going through that transition, is having an unbiased party to talk to about what you're going through and seeking direction.
I
And
agree. I so agree. I agree with that. I also agree with, for those who being married for 12 years, but being that single mom, and all of that. When I got to marriage, one of the things I share with people who are going in that direction is, it should be in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, y'all, but even in getting married, you should be going to premarital counseling. I just think that people just jump into stuff and they have these pictures and images of what this is, whatever that thing is, and it's not, and it's not a bad thing, but it's not that. You really need to go sit down and talk about those issues that won't come up in surface conversations, or how to prepare. The biggest thing I got from any kind of counseling, whether it was marriage or just me as a person getting counseling, was the tools that you get to help you when you get to those difficult times. Because that's really what it is they're not predicting that, oh, if you come here and talk to me, you will have no problems at all. That's not what it's for. But the tools, if you really engage, the tools that you receive from those kind of things really are things that you know when to pull it out and say, okay, we're in this space now. What do we do? So I am definitely a component of therapy. I do think we run from it. I think that's an ego thing.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of times we don't want nobody telling us what to do. We grown, all of that stuff. Which is the reasons that I think that you do go to therapy, because you're grown, and we do need people sometimes to guide, because we don't know everything. So I'm glad that you said that. I wanted to actually, on that tip and on real estate, can you share with us some tips or guidance or lessons learned, whether it's in real estate or other things from your project, that you would share? And this is some free information, you all, because you need to go sign up for the program. So just a couple of free little tips to help people if they're, in one of these areas.
Sure. So I'll start with real estate for those that are considering buying, right? Because that's usually the folks that have the most questions. If you're considering selling, you already own. But if you're considering buying, congratulations. I'm just going to tell you in advance. Work through that fear. Make a phone call, as Lisa said, research. You can go online and look up agents, or you may have some referrals from friends and family, but also know, just because they've been referred from friends and family, they may not be a good fit, as you said, right? So people just have to sit and have a conversation. It's okay. It's free. I always tell people it's free to have a conversation. But you alluded to something earlier that I definitely wanted to mention. If you are in an agreement with an agent and you feel like it's not a good fit, if you feel like that agent is not putting you in the right direction, is not listening to you, or have any problems, and you've already spoken to that agent and can't come to a resolution, you can get out of your agreement. I want people to understand that. Some people have had horrible experiences and they didn't realize that they could get out of their agreement. Right. And so there are ways to do that. And I'm not telling anyone to do it, but what I'm saying is always know you have options. People have to know that they are empowered. This is your investment. Right. And so you get to choose who you want to work with. So that's number one. The other thing I would say is, it's never too soon to look at your credit. Right. I don't care if you think about next year buying, pull it up today, talk to a lender today. I am not trying to disparage my credit repair folks, but I need y'all to really listen to this. When you talk to a mortgage lender, they will run your credit. They will consult with you. They will advise you. They will tell you what you need to do in order to get pre-approved for a mortgage, right? So before you go putting out your money to all these different, your cousin does credit repair and whatnot, I'm telling you, talk to a mortgage provider, right? Because sometimes people just say, well, I know my credit is not great. I want to improve my credit. That's fine. But if you're talking about purchasing a home, there are some things that are done in credit repair that are not ideal for you if you're looking for potentially to go into home ownership, right? Sometimes they'll teach you how to do disputes. Can't have disputes on your credit if you're looking for a home. That's one of the biggest things they teach. Freezing your credit, different things like that. So sit with the mortgage provider. Again, it's free, y'all. We missing all the free stuff and we taking our good earn income, paying into situations. And people are like, back in the day, it was like Lexington Law. I'm not trying to disparage Lexington Law, but I'm just saying people are paying on credit for years and still not ready to buy. Something's wrong here, right? So sit with the lender and realtor and we'll help you develop a plan and a strategy, right? So we know if you have a dream, that's all it is until you put a date with it, right?
That's true.
We got to teach our people how to accomplish the goals that they set, right? So have the conversations. And then when you do get with the lender, you already move forward, talk to the lender about all your options. A good lender, a good mortgage broker is going to give you all of your options. Everyone that I work with, and I've got, I don't know how many lenders in my back pocket, Rolodex, whatever you want to call it. We are not out here to set you up. We are not out here to get you into hot water. We are not out here trying to help you live beyond your means. Everyone that I work with, we are credible. We've been doing this and we are not trying to lose our licenses, our lifestyle to help you get into a house that we know you can't keep. That's not how that works. So a lot of this is fear and trust that people have to overcome. You can listen to your mom's story, you can listen to your cousins, you can listen to your coworkers, but your journey is going to be your journey, right? Hear what they have to say. What is it? Bring it on and spit out what doesn't work, right? Release what doesn't work for you. Your journey is going to be different than theirs, right? Most people don't tell you what their credit was. Most people don't tell you their income. They don't give you all the details. They don't tell you all the details. And so you have to understand and be able to discern, okay, wait a minute, this was my cousin's experience, but now this is my experience, right? And so another big thing on the real estate that I want people to understand is down payment assistance, first-time home buyer programs, so on and so forth are great. They serve a purpose, right? However, there is no free money. Like it costs, right? So if you get down payment assistance, then just know your interest rate may be a little higher, right? Why would the bank just give you all this money and not charge you for it in some way, shape, or form, right? So you're either going to pay money up front or you're going to pay it on the back end as you make your mortgage payments, right? But we're putting all that information out up front, guys, okay? So you know this, because I get that a lot from my first-time home buyers, and they think it's free, or they think they don't need to be invested in the process, right? We need you to have some savings. We need you to come to the table with something, because that's very irresponsible of me as an industry professional to try to get you to purchase a home knowing you don't have a dime to your name. That's not going to happen, right? That just makes no sense. And so at the end of the day, I got to make sure our people really do understand that. You need to have some skin in the game. You need to sit down and talk with the lender sooner than later. You need to feel empowered through the process. So work with people that make you feel empowered and just know that you can do this, right? It's been done. It's been done by millions of people.
You have dropped some major nuggets. So those who are not tuned in are really missing out, because I've sat in rooms and not heard some of the things that you're sharing. So I thank you for the nuggets. I mean, look, well, we'll be sharing this after the show to make sure, because we want everybody to get the information. But I mean, this is a blessing in itself. Because there are a lot of people out there that are really probably thinking, I can't do it, or I don't know how to do it, or I don't know what to expect. But you are dropping some powerful nuggets on this. So thank you for that.
Oh, you are so welcome. You are welcome. And on the personal and redeveloper project, which is part personal, I will say, I just want to encourage people, because I've had other businesses, had a marriage almost 20 years and didn't make it. At the end of the day, it's okay though, right? As long as we're living and breathing, God has given us another opportunity. So if I can just encourage someone, if you are still able to move forward, and get out of our emotions, because we all up in our emotions sometimes. And I will say, Lisa, that is one thing that helped me successfully transition from being married to divorce, is because I made a very conscious decision. I held on for a long time, contemplating, wondering what the other side would look like, wondering how my children would fare, all the things a mother does and thinks, right? Because we put our children first, right? And so thinking about all these things, and it was very difficult. And finally, when I made the decision, I just had to, it really was a leap of faith, right? And again, I'm not encouraging anyone to make that decision, but guess what? Our intuition, our Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, already knows sometimes, right, when we should make moves.
Right.
It's just that fear comes up again. And so I just want to encourage women and let them know there are better days ahead, right? Very much so. Very much so. And you can't do it alone, right? But there is a community of support of women such as myself and the professionals that I work with, just willing to help you make that transition. I've been able to do it. I just want to share with people that it can be done. And I started to say, I decided that I wasn't going to be bitter. See, that thing right there will, it's devastating. It destroys, right? I went through the heartache, the heartbreak, the tears, just like any other woman or divorced man for that instance. But I relate to the women. And it's tough. But I said, you know what? We are in situations for a reason. And I'm not shaming my ex-husband, never had, because I feel like there are lessons that I had to learn.
That's
right? And I wasn't released until I got those lessons. And one of the biggest lessons is confidence, right? One of the biggest lessons for women, whether married or divorced, I'm telling you, is confidence. We can look amazing on the outside, but not feel that truly inside. We don't know who we are. We say it, right? We quote scriptures, we can speak all these affirmations, but to really know it is two different things, right? And so I said I didn't want to be bitter, because I've seen that. We've all seen that. I wanted to do it different. I wanted to be as mature and responsible and handle things as amicably as possible, because at one point this is somebody that you loved and cared about. So I don't know how people flip the switch so easily sometimes. Now, I do understand
themselves is what they're doing. To me, they tricking themselves, because it's like they don't even believe their own hype. Like, and I think that's where I felt like I was when I've seen people experience that. I said, well, I don't know if it was just my personality, but normally I just will keep giving until I just can't, because I don't like the feeling of longing for, or I wish I would have. So I probably push myself to a whole nother level, which probably might not be the healthy thing to do all the time either, but it allows for that. I'm sure when when you walk away from something, whether it's a friend or relationship or something, a job or whatever, but I'm sure when I walked that I'm doing the right thing. No matter how hard it is, this is the best thing for me. And I don't have those other things that are like, oh, well, wait a minute. And no, I'm
gave
good.
all that you could.
Absolutely. I went on empty. So I absolutely agree with you.
That's how I felt.
This has been so wonderful. We definitely gonna have to get you to come back, because we want to know more about your project. But actually, I want people to know, where can they find you and learn more about this? Because you said it's starting in October, right?
Yes. So our podcast kicks off in a couple weeks in September. The masterclass for Redevelop Her starts in October. So folks can find me on Facebook, Stephanie Gordon on Facebook. My ex, he told me if I'm going to start dating, I had to get rid of his last name on Facebook. So Stephanie Gordon on Facebook, but I'm known as Stephanie DeBerry. Steph Sells DMV on Instagram. You can also go to redevelopher.com. The website is up. People can leave their email and we'll let them know the information for the upcoming class. And I think our masterclass page is up as well. My team was working on that. So I'm on social media, definitely on Facebook. And I always tell people, feel free if there's questions. And even though I'm based in the DMV, I have a real estate team all over the country. So no matter where folks are watching from, I can connect them with a realtor or lender in their area. Right. So
Thank you so much. And we'll be sharing your information as well. You can see on the screen that there's some information for Stephanie, but we support what you're doing, and we'll definitely
thank
have you
you.
come back. What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and switch energy a little bit, because you all know this is Luncheon with Lisa. So we got to put some luncheon up in here, because y'all know people out there lunching and doing what they do. So after this commercial break, we're going to come back and have a little fun that we like to spring on our guests before we say goodbye to them. So we'll be right back.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
Black pink in your area.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
So I wanted to remind you all that's Laughing All the Way to the Bank comedy show. Sharon Parker, who is a regular supporter of Luncheon with Lisa. I have hosted or moderated her events over the years. She's doing some amazing things. So please check it out. And also I want to remind you that DSM Media, which is a business that Shariva and I actually started, where we do those kind of things. We do commercials for the show. We do have sponsorship for Luncheon with Lisa as well, but we do social media graphics. We do background production like Luncheon with Lisa, where you can just go online and do your thing, and we're behind the scenes helping to make it happen. We do commercials and intros, podcast backdrops, you name it, we do it. We actually have fun. We also have a show lineup. So we have 2 shows that will be joining us this coming fall. I think Moms We See You will be coming back. We'll give you more information as they join us, but they actually were coming on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. They have a wonderful platform. They bring on wonderful moms. It's for moms, about moms, by moms. So you got to tune in for that. And then we have Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul that's hosted by Michelle Bolden Hammond. She's coming back, I think, in October, but she actually does a show that really touches on the mind, body, and soul. She does some wonderful things, has some wonderful guests. I forgot to mention that Dr. Tashika Green and Jacqueline Griffin are the hosts of Moms We See You. So we're looking forward to them coming back on the platform, and DSM Media is excited to be behind the scenes because we get kind of a front row, back row seat and seeing the show. But thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us. We're going to have a little fun. So what we try to do on Luncheon with Lisa before we say goodbye is that we actually talk about maybe some things that are going on. Before we do that TikTok moment, we talk about things that are going on that people may be lunching about. And, you know, at one time it was people might have been lunching about not wearing their mask or, you know, whatever it is. Sometimes it's about kids and some of the things they believe. I know one of the things that I thought kids were lunching about, I never figured out why. And maybe I was guilty of this as a kid, but I felt like that kids just think that you can walk up to the ATM and whatever you need, you can just walk up there and they will shoot it out to you. That's when I'm like, these kids are lunching.
Right.
But Stephanie, did you have anything that you've thought about that people may be lunching about?
Just the current state of relationships, I think, between Black men and Black women. I'm just, you know, all new to this, and I'm learning through Facebook and social media. Oh my gosh, it's a whole new world out here. So I would say a whole new world. I can't even keep up with everything that's going on. I can't wait, or I hope at some point we will come to an agreement as Black women and men and not fight against each other, because we need each other. But just from what I've been reading and been involved with what do you call it, podcasts and listening to folks, I'm not ready.
She's not ready.
The men are expecting this, the women want this. I'm just like, I don't know where I fit in this new realm. I think we're making it way more difficult. I think there's been a lot presented to keep us against each other. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, we got to do better. I swear, every day I'm reading something where we are downplaying each other, right? Criticizing each other, you know? And so it's a little frustrating, but I think that's where folks are lunching. Like, we need more healing.
I get you. And look, Shariva actually posted and said, "Girl, it's terrible. Just terrible." And I'm glad you said, look, you just actually ignited something. And a special shout out to Prince Dejour, who actually, you know, reached out to me and said, "You really need to connect with Stephanie." You did. Stephanie came on the Power Shut Up Symposium earlier this year. Thank you so much for doing that. But shout out to him for making the connection. And it's funny you were talking about that, because we actually he hosted a show. And Shariva, we were all part of this show that was called and Shariva, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like girls, who runs the world, girls or boys. And we actually had some couples of all, you know, couples who have been married for a lot of years. We had young couples, we had newlyweds, we had I don't even know if it was single people in there, but we wanted to talk about because communication is my jam. So talking about relationships and men and women and the way we communicate differently. I love those conversations because I think it just creates a lot of growth. And when we don't have those communication issues, then we all kind of fall into these stereotypes and judgments and all of that. So we might have to ignite that, Stephanie, and then bring you in
I think I saw that one too. I was on that too.
Yeah, and bring you in on that, because it's great conversation and it's needed. And just based on what you were saying, I think we just need to do that. So you started something, and we're going to get to that. But what I wanted to do is also thank everybody, as usual, for coming on to Luncheon with Lisa, joining us. It's been absolutely wonderful, Stephanie. What we've added to Luncheon with Lisa is a TikTok moment. So for those who know me, you know that I love to watch TikTok. My husband and I are people watchers. And TikTok is perfect for people watchers. We stay up all night. Sometimes the charge goes out on my phone watching TikTok, because there's some really good, it's some positive information out there. There's some strange stuff out there. But I try to pick a TikTok moment every week that kind of gives you some energy to go into the weekend. It's been Thursday, and this is technically my Friday. I know some people are going to be mad at me, but I'm off every Friday. So this is my Friday. I usually say happy Friday, but people get mad at me because they're like, no, it's Thursday. So happy my Friday. But this particular TikTok is a TikTok that I have watched over and over and over again. And it makes me smile and laugh every time. So what I want to pose before we show this TikTok is that this is the energy that I hope for people to go into the weekend with, and then into the fall, into next year. But this was captured perfectly in this TikTok. So I decided that we would share this, and then we'll come back and say goodbye. But I just had to share this moment. So check this out.
Fight! Fight! يلا مع السلامة. هي بنتنا قدام المدرسة المديرة هتطرد الخصم. مو وقته دحين. يلا يا بابا الناس. يلا مع السلامة. مو وقته دحين قدام المدرسة. امشي يا شيخة. يلا مع يا شيخة.
Oh my God. I have watched that over and over again, and it has made me just crack up laughing. I am going to try to reenact this somehow, some way. But that was the cutest thing. She was so excited to go to school. How do we don't see that anymore. It was just refreshing. Yeah, not like, she was just so excited to go to school. I'm sure it looked like she was maybe late. Because no one else was out there with her. But that kind of the feeling that I wanted you all to take that kind of energy to go into the weekend, to go into next week, just to embrace your next journey, whether it's real estate or something else. You know, it wasn't any concern about what she's going to encounter when she gets to that first day. It was just excitement for the next step. And that's what I encourage everybody to do, just just let it all go as she did. And yeah, if you are follow, so I will say this, TikTok, Luncheon with Lisa has a TikTok page. And we trying to get out there and get in with these millennials and Gen Zs and all that stuff. So check out our page. I am going to be at some point when I get my nerve up reenacting that, but it really did put a smile on my face. So I'm hoping that you all enjoyed it too. And again, Stephanie, let them know where they can find you real quick.
Sure.
So they can, embrace you. And if you are looking for a house, if you want a real experience and you want the best, I'm suggesting that maybe you need to be contacting Stephanie.
Thank you. Yes, they can find me on Facebook, on Instagram as Steph Sales DMV, Facebook Stephanie Gordon. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm on TikTok, but not really yet. I haven't posted a video yet. I got to work up my nerves for that. And I want folks to know too, even if they're interested in a career in real estate, they can reach out to me as well. Yeah, they can reach out, and I love to give them some advice, direction.
Absolutely. Actually, you dropped quite a bit today. So if that's any indication of how Stephanie can help you through the process. So I wanted to actually I saw that Deborah jumped on, and anybody who joined in on the show, we will be sharing this again and again because she dropped some powerful nuggets. I don't want y'all to miss it. So y'all better tune into YouTube, Facebook, like I said, TikTok. We'll be sharing some snippets of tonight's show. But again, thank you, Stephanie, so much.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. I had a great time.
And I'm hoping that you will return.
Sure.
You are welcome here anytime. So thank you so much. And we will see you all next Thursday. So be good and get excited.
Yes, get excited.